Hi everyone, meteorologist Steve Caparata here, back with another episode of Coast and Climate. You know, it's exciting times for NASA. Recently, we told you about the Webb Space Telescope, seeing some incredible images emerge from that. And now on to the next great thing. That's the Artemis mission. We're talking about eventually, hopefully something that will lead to man getting back to the moon. So to learn more about this mission, today I'm joined by Nujoud Merancy with NASA. She's going to tell us a bit more about this mission. So Nujoud, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you. Happy to talk to you.
All right, so first off, so this is Artemis 1 that we're talking about. This is just kind of the first part of the mission. What can you tell us about it?
So Artemis 1 is our uncrewed test flight. So this is our first chance to launch the Space Launch System rocket, all the ground systems, mission control, and the Orion spacecraft on top. And this is to ensure that it's safe for the crews beginning on Artemis 2. So we have a very ambitious mission coming up, 42 days long, into deep space in a distant retrograde orbit around the moon, but lots of work to do in front of us.
So tell us a little bit about how this is going to help get ready to get, you know, as said, this is going to be the first time we try to get people back to the moon in about 50 years. How is this mission going to help prepare and get us ready for that and maybe on to Mars, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this mission is really, we've had to relearn how to do space exploration to the moon. This is, all the systems, the rocket, the spacecraft, mission control, all of that effort had to be reconstructed and put together. So this is absolutely our first step of returning to lunar exploration, even if we don't have the humans on it. That's the same type of effort we'll do when we fly humans. And so this is the systems that will then, when you pair it with the lander on Artemis 3, we'll put our crews down on the surface of the moon for 6 days. So even on our first mission back to the moon, it'll be twice as long as the longest Apollo mission on the surface.
And I'm going to ask you more about Apollo here in a second, but you kind of lead me into another question. I know this is just kind of prepping for eventually getting humans back. Do we know yet who the crews are going to be that may eventually get that chance to be the first humans back there on the moon in about 50 years?
So we don't know exactly who, but the astronauts that we have on staff today at NASA and our international partners, those are the crews from which they'll be selected. It's a very diverse astronaut corps. It's very exciting. And when we return to the moon, it'll include the first woman and the first person of color to walk on the moon. So there's so much we can do. And I look forward to when I actually know which of those folks I get to work with are the ones that get to fly.
Yeah, so blazing some trails there for sure with the first woman, the first person of color. So that's absolutely something to look forward to. So a moment ago, you mentioned Apollo, which I think most of us that are too young are familiar with Apollo. Tell us how Artemis is going to differ from Apollo.
So I missed Apollo 2 by several years. So this will be a little bit different. And Apollo went to the equatorial region of the moon, which is sort of just the easiest place to get to. We're going to be going to the South Pole. And we're going to the South Pole intentionally so that we can look in the craters that never see sunlight. So there's potential water ice. There's geologic activity that the scientists are highly interested in, which tells us about how the Earth formed. So there's a lot of exploration to be done at the South Pole. There's also some very interesting places on the rims of those craters where there's near continuous sunlight. So we can build out long duration space exploration on the lunar surface. So lots to do. And in particular, the place we're going and the sustainability of building out longer missions and to keep this going so that it doesn't get stopped at some point is really the goal and the difference from Apollo.
Yeah, so obviously, having been about 50 years and going to a different part of the moon, as you say, there's lots to look for. What specifically are you most excited about with this mission?
Specifically, just seeing it happen, right? We've been working on this a long time, even if folks weren't aware it was going on. So actually seeing it and getting to share it with the country and really the world is one of the most exciting things. If you talk about the mission itself, I'm looking forward to when we get Orion, the spacecraft, out 40,000 miles on the other side of the moon and being able to look back at Earth with the spacecraft, the moon, and Earth all together. That's going to be an amazing moment in this mission.
Let me ask you too, a little bit kind of separate from NASA, but you know, we've seen some other groups that are bringing humans into space now. How do you feel about this new age of space exploration that's opening up the door to maybe sort of the average Joe to eventually get into space as well? I've seen a little bit of that already, but how do you feel about that?
I mean, the only thing better than one rocket is two rockets. The more spacecraft, the more rockets, the more people get to go. I'm in favor of everything. So I'm big fan. I'm pro rocket in all forms that it comes in. And I hope one day it gets to the point where even I could go. Right? Our astronauts are highly trained, very dedicated professionals. And there's only so many of those that NASA can send. So the more opportunities for all the rest of us, the better.
All right, a couple more questions before I let you go. So number one, this is sort of the first part of the Artemis mission. Do we have a timeline on what's yet to come in that quest to eventually get people back to the moon?
Yeah, so we're looking to try to do our first flight with crew on Artemis 2. So 1, 2, we're putting crews out there to lunar distance. The goal is to do that mission by 2024, followed in 2025 with the first landing on the moon. So we build out the lander system that'll be needed for that flight. So, and at the same time, we'll be launching the gateway into an orbital platform for future missions. So lots going on. And now that we're actually like sort of hitting our stride, I hope we can get the missions up and rolling as fast as we can.
And probably inspiring a new generation of astronauts and space explorers and scientists with this mission. So where can people go to find out more about Artemis and what NASA is up to today?
So NASA's put a ton of resources on the web. NASA.gov is the homepage with links to a lot of information, or just get in your search engine and search NASA Artemis. There's lots of information, including education packets for teachers to do in classrooms, or general media information and pictures. So should be very easy to find right off the NASA homepages.
All right, Nujoud Merancy. I'm sorry, I keep stumbling on the name. My last name's Caparata, so I get it. People stumble on my name all the time too.
I'm used to it.
Thank you so much for this. We're all very excited about it, and obviously, best of luck with this going forward. We're all kind of on the edge of our seats, watching to see how this all plays out.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it, and please follow along.
Will do, absolutely. Thank you again. So pretty exciting times, everybody, as we look ahead to what this Artemis mission delivers in the quest to get humans back to the moon. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Coming up next week on Coast and Climate. So, you know, we're going extraterrestrial this week, but next week it's back here at home. We're going to be talking about the Comeet diversion project. I'll be joined by somebody with the Army Corps of Engineers to give us a full update on that. Obviously, we heard about more delays with the Comeet diversion a little bit earlier this year. So we're going to see how that's coming along and what we can expect going forward. You can catch all our episodes of Coast and Climate live on WAFB Plus, and of course they live sort of infinitely on our website WAFB.com and on our YouTube channel as well. See you next Thursday at 10 o'clock.